All right, good morning, Bismarck Mandan. The only expert in the room at the moment is Dave.
Yeah.
Dave Floor here.
Yeah, hello.
And then the boss man, Jim Walsh.
Hi.
Jim, are you like related to Joe Walsh?
Joe's my father.
Joe is your father.
No.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Well, you have musical talent.
I play a little guitar, and I play a smattering of piano.
Okay, see.
When I play the piano, I really smatter it.
Smatter, yeah, that's what I would do too. Yeah. Yeah. But no, I was just curious, Walsh, not related as far as you know.
Hey, life's been good so far.
Life's been good so far. Yeah. All right. How did the rest of that go?
I have a mansion, forget the price.
Yes, okay, there we go.
Ain't never been there, they tell me it's nice.
All right.
Well, I've got his range, so.
Okay. Well, we're Dakota Housing Network, Dave Floor here, Jim Walsh on the board. Greg Larson might join us in a little bit. He was at a Dakota Water Resource District meeting.
Oh, the old Dakota Water Resource District
apparently
meeting.
They did something that's bringing some water on us because it was raining outside when I came into the studio.
Yes, it was.
So I think
there's the old wintry mix going on.
Yes, we should blame that on Greg because they're at this water resource and they must be doing something over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's their job, is water.
Well, they saw him coming in. They got all excited. They went, "Hey, look, Martin Mull's here."
Yeah, there you go.
We kid Greg because he looks like Martin.
Yes, he does. Anyway, so Greg might show up. He said he might be a little late.
Okay,
so we'll see. So we'll wing it without him today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Winging a prayer.
All right. As always, Dakota Housing Network. We will talk a little interest rates first here, Jim. Looking at the Freddie Mac survey, which for the week ended today, March 31st. Tomorrow is April Fool's.
Oh, boy.
You got any plans to fool your wife or something?
Oh, God, I hope not.
Okay, you want to get in trouble.
No.
Okay, all right. Well, let's hope they're not fooling around with the interest rates, right? Okay.
Clever.
So what happened to interest rates the last week? The 30-year fixed rate averaged 3.71%. That was unchanged from a week ago, so they did not fool around with the interest rates.
Oh, no.
Good for them.
No fooling.
All right. A year ago, the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage was at 3.7%, so we are virtually the same as we were a year ago.
We're just like where we were when we were back then the way we are now.
Yeah, okay, right, something like that. The 15-year averaged 2.98%. It was up from last week when it averaged 2.96%, and a year ago at this time, the 15-year was at 2.98%.
Yeah.
The exact same. So there we go. We are just on an even keel. Nothing going on here.
In other words, the more things are changing, the more they're staying the same.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. Now let's do a little what does all this mean from our friend Barry Habib at the MBS Highway. Jobs report tomorrow, Jim. They're going to tell us how many jobs were created last month.
Okay.
Okay.
You mean this month?
Yeah, March.
You mean March,
Yep.
okay.
Okay.
Tomorrow it'll be last month.
Okay, so anyway, what they're looking for is they're expecting 200 and what are they expecting? They are expecting about 260,000 jobs.
Right.
200,000 jobs this month. This is actually for the month of March. 4.9% unemployment rate. Okay.
Yeah.
So last month's numbers, they actually hit the number of 242,000 and 4.9% unemployment rate.
Yeah.
And we've talked enough about what that unemployment rate actually does or doesn't mean, but
and the thing I would want to see, I'd want to see a breakdown of what kind of jobs are being created.
Yes, then that's always the numbers behind the numbers, so to speak.
I mean, you can create 1 million jobs, but if they're all shoveling horse droppings,
yes,
in a stable somewhere, I mean, a lot of us are not really.
Those aren't really good jobs.
Yeah.
They're
that's not the gig That's not what I spent 6 years in college for.
Well, I remember doing that when I was a kid. On my cousin's farm, and I got paid about $0.25 to.
Yeah, but hey, you were in showbiz.
What you just said. To do exactly and pick some rocks along with it.
Right.
I got free lunches though out of it, free lunch and dinner out of it, so that was worth something.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, also that came out this week was the Challenger Job Cut Report, which shows short and long-term planned layoffs. That was reported at nearly 50,000 for March. But that is down from last month's report when 62,000 layoffs were short and long-term layoffs happened. So actually we're improving on the layoffs, so that would be an indication that most companies they're at least not laying off as many people, they're hiring.
Okay. Now, we're talking nationwide here? Or
nationwide. This is nationwide. Yep. So actually, the job market is getting a little better, and they're saying, there's some price wage increases. So that's pushing on inflation a little bit.
Good.
So it'll be, of course, that's all what the Fed looks at all this kind of stuff to see what they're going to do with their Fed rate, the overnight rate that they charge banks. Whether they'll do they did a increase in December. They haven't done one yet this year. We'll see. They said they were planning on doing it 6 times this year, and then they ratcheted that back to maybe we'll only do it 4 times. And now they're not sure, but the way the numbers are going, they're kind of looking at that. They might hike here the next meeting they have in April, or might wait till June to give them a little more time to see what the numbers are. But there's some pressure out there in the job market and with inflation that would point to them raising the interest rates at some point here soon. So we will see what happens. But anyway, good thing on the job cut report, and we'll see what the job numbers come in tomorrow is when the report comes out. And then, but the key with that is what you just mentioned is that what happened, what's the numbers behind the numbers? What kind of jobs were being created?
Right.
Is it service jobs? Is it manufacturing?
Yeah.
Are the jobs part-time? Are they going to older people versus younger people? That sort of thing is all important. Now, Jim, on this day in 1918, we were at war. World War I, right? We were in the middle of World War I.
The war was winding down, yeah.
And President Wilson, did you know that President Wilson signed into law this day the first daylight savings time in nation's history?
Oh, okay.
Everybody moved their clocks ahead 1 hour.
All right.
The protests begin immediately. From fishermen to farmers.
Like it, yeah.
Fishermen to farmers. Everyone complained. Anybody that dealt with nature. Because you know what? The cows didn't change their time, and neither did the pigs.
No.
They wanted to get fed and milked at the same time. So daylight savings went away. They repealed it. Well, but we've got it now. What happened was World War II came along, and they did it again, and it stuck.
They used to call it wartime, 10 o'clock Eastern wartime.
Yes. So anyway, I did not know that back in 1918 we also had daylight savings, and it actually went away and then came back.
Well, it's actually a very ancient concept.
Yeah.
Basically it's you cut the end off one side of the blanket and you sew it onto the other side, so theoretically you have more blanket.
Okay, sure.
Anyway.
Yeah, something like that. It's still 24 hours
I think it sounded better when Ben Franklin described it.
There's still 24 hours in a day last time I checked.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. So anyway, a little trivia, you can win a bar bet. We had daylight savings time before we had daylight savings time.
Yeah, right.
So, we were going to play. There was a gentleman that passed away, Thunderclap Newman.
Yeah, he was a protege of Pete Townsend of The Who. And he had one big giant hit.
Something in the Air.
Yeah.
So we will be back on the Dakota Housing Network. Dave Floor, Jim Olson,
and
Greg Larson just walked in.
Right now, 36.
Here's Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons on Super Talk 1270.
All right, Dave Floor, Greg Larson, and Jim Walsh back on the Dakota Housing Network, along with Thunderclap Newman. No, this was the name of the band.
Right. There was a guy in the band named Andy Newman.
Yeah,
and the band was named after him.
And his nickname was Thunderclap.
And he passed away today. He was 73, I think.
73, it said. Yeah.
Jimmy McCullough was the guitar player who later worked with McCartney.
Yep.
And he passed away in, I think, 79. And then there was Speedy Keen was the drummer.
Who I believe played with Jerry Garcia in Garcia's bands.
The only surviving member of the band, get this, is Pete Townsend, who played bass on their album.
Oh, I don't know. So
he was their mentor. He produced the record.
Yeah. So anyway,
Pete Townsend played bass?
Yes.
Yeah.
For
this record.
For this record, for Thunderclap Newman.
I would guess Pete Townsend can probably play a few instruments.
Well, I know he's a pretty fair keyboard player because he played all that synthesizer stuff. On Who's Next.
Yeah. So he's multi.
Yeah. We're going to play some Who music.
Yeah, we'll play Who music today. So anyway.
So you know what else happened today?
Oh, what?
The Eiffel Tower opened.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Do we know what year?
1889.
1889.
Yep.
Okay.
Wasn't it designed by the same guy who designed the Statue of Liberty?
I believe you are correct, sir.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
I think I saw that on Jeopardy one day.
Well, let's talk housing.
Let's do that.
Let's talk housing. We're here. Okay, this is a fun one here. San Francisco. It's expensive to live in San Francisco.
Yes, sir.
It is. That is the costliest place on the face of the earth, isn't it? For a house, pretty close.
Yeah, I have a cousin who lives in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And he lives in an apartment building. It's 3 stories, and I believe he owns it, or he's one of the owners.
Oh, good for him.
But my gosh, the rent is like $3,200 a month
for like a 1-bedroom or something, 2-bedroom,
small 2-bedroom.
Yeah, yeah.
The only claim to fame is in the some Hitchcock movie.
Ah,
They have this oval circular stairway that goes up and a skylight above it.
cool.
And some movie they had someone that looked up
there.
the stairway.
Vertigo, probably.
Vertigo, that's
Vertigo.
it. And then
Well, a
someone
big
got
one.
thrown down the stairwell, and they filmed it in that apartment.
Oh, big. That's like a big
Yippee.
Hitchcock movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not for sale.
Wow. Well, I'm going to have to watch Vertigo again so I can see that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's my touch with fame for the day.
There you are.
Anyway, well, San Francisco, it's expensive. A man got very creative on his housing in San Francisco. He built a Harry Potter-esque cupboard to live in. If you remember, you ever seen the show Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Okay. They stuck Harry, that family. What were they? The Weasleys, or no? The Weasleys were.
No, that was his buddy. His buddy was
Yeah,
Ron
his buddy
Weasley.
was Weasley. I can't remember what his family was that had like adopted him or whatever.
Yeah, the uncle.
But anyway, they had him in the cupboard underneath the stairs.
Right.
That was where Harry stayed. Okay, well, this guy in San Francisco, his name is Peter Berkowitz. He's taken tiny house living to a whole new and even smaller level. You know, the tiny house thing's a big thing now, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, he couldn't find any affordable housing options in San Francisco, so he decided to build a home of his own. All right? But his home is barely more than a box. Actually, it is a box. He now lives inside a Harry Potter-esque cupboard that rests in a friend's living room. The makeshift bedroom, which its owner prefers to call a pod, is no larger than a wide bookshelf and is inconspicuously stationed at one corner of an apartment living room in the neighborhood. Its exterior resembles a large crate, while its inside houses a twin bed, a fold-up desk, and some LED lights. It's 8 feet long and 4.5 feet tall. He has to duck to get inside, but his new home is honestly very comfortable. It cost him roughly $1,300 to build his pod, and he pays his roommates, parentheses, $400 a month to park his pod in their living room. And it's
$400 a month to park his pod.
Yeah, it was not fueled by desperation or poverty or anything. He has a good job and everything, and he's not in dire straits. It just seemed he wasn't going to pay $3,200 a month for an apartment. So he said, "Hey, if friends let me park my pod in your living room, go for it." Right?
That's
okay.
Well,
Interesting.
San Francisco is also where they have the Shaker Shacks.
Yes, we've talked about those before. What are those again?
Tiny little shacks that they built for temporary housing after the big earthquake.
In 1906.
Yeah, that are still there, that are like 300 square feet.
Yeah, because we had one on what it was going for.
Yeah.
On here, we talked about that one. It was like $750,000 or something.
Yeah.
And it's just a tiny little thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all you can say. No, Greg, I gave you an article. This is a little bit, so you're going to do a little off the cuff on what your thoughts are on this. But this is about buyers. Greg, of course, is real estate agent with Century 21, Morrison. So buyer is the survey that was done. Buyers said they prefer to do most of their stuff online, and that includes looking at homes, having as much of the process be online as possible.
Right.
So what do you think about what they're talking about there?
Well, this is a brokerage firm and called Owners.com, and it's not really fair to call it a brokerage firm. They don't sell anything. They're not a real estate broker. They're a search engine.
They're an online lister of properties, and you go out and search.
And there's a ton of them right now. As a matter of fact, my properties I post on Owners.com.
Okay. All right.
But they don't sell them. It's an interesting deal. They will take your listing, and if you want to make it look good, you pay them a little something, and it's not bad. To have your home on Owners.com, and it's probably Owners.com is probably within the top 10 search engines for homes.
Okay.
And they post it. Then on their website, if you like a home and you want information on it, you click on it. And then they shoot it back to me because it's my listing.
Okay.
And I get that, and then I get to pay them a fee
for that.
I paid him to put it on, and then I pay him a fee to get the referral to the person who's interested in the house.
Okay.
So
all right,
that's what they do. And there's Trulia is a big one.
Works the same way.
Yeah, Zillow is a big one, and they call themselves real estate companies, and really what they are is a search engine.
Mm-hmm.
But what they have done is just what this says. There's myriad places. My office, Century 21, and I'm not advertising Century 21 Morrison, but we, through Century 21 franchise, we put listings out on over 400 search engines.
Okay.
Well over 400.
Okay, so
this is
good. This is good for people to know that that's
Right.
what is occurring when they're going to these sites.
And so people are doing this. They're going online. They're going to these different websites. The one that the National Association of Realtors has is Realtor.com.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. And they get this information, and they also have articles on how to buy, what to look for, how to negotiate, how to find an agent. Should you use an agent? And the answer is, of course, heck yes.
Yeah,
but
absolutely, I agree.
So I think that people are much more confident in buying a home, much more informed on buying a home, at least at the start, front end of it. When you get into financing, when you get into that stuff, a lot of this stuff isn't necessarily so great to, because there's no absolutes. You know that,
right?
In the lending business.
That was what concerned me a little bit about the flavor of this survey that they'd done. Is that people felt more confident in the whole process. It was almost like people were thinking, "Well, I can just go do this myself."
Well, there's some that do that, and we could spend a couple of shows telling you the horror stories.
Yeah,
of that.
and it really is. I mean, for going out and looking, okay, you want to move to Bismarck or Mandan, and to go out and look online at through whatever search engine it happens to be, or whatever they want to call themselves. That's good because you can go through and see, and you can split out. I want a 3-bedroom with this and this and this and this, and you can kind of narrow a search a little bit and whatever. So they're useful for that.
And they are. These are national. There's a ton of locals. Ton of locals. Bizman Online has a real estate section, which I think works for folks.
Yeah. Well, and the local association has.
And we have one.
Bismarck Mandan Homes.
Homes.com and Realtor.com, and then every brokerage has a website. So this is how folks are searching. And what I'm discovering is that prior to this online flurry, if you will, of search engines, I would show probably 12, 14 homes. Mm-hmm. Now it's 5 or 6.
Okay.
They have done the weeding out.
So helpful for your time and the customer's time.
Right.
Yeah.
So it puts the onus on the realtor to make sure you know what they want, because sometimes they'll rule something out they might not should rule out.
Yeah.
But I think it's the way the industry is going, and I think it's good, and I think people are a little more confident in buying. Let me just say this. In many, many cases, and I'm not going to name any search engine, if you find a house, don't assume that it's available.
Yeah.
There's, anytime you have a good thing, there's someone who's going to scam the good thing.
Yeah.
And anytime you have this information, it's not always updated. Yeah. And don't assume that it's the realtor's fault it's not updated. And I'll give you just a quick example of me. I sold 5 years ago a little cabin on a point in Brush Lake.
Okay.
I have taken it off of this search engine at least a dozen times.
Still there.
And it's still there, and I'm still getting calls on it.
Yeah, okay.
Because I can't make them take it down. So just make sure that you're double-checking the information, folks, if you're using these search engines.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right, we will be back on the Dakota Housing Network going out with Who Are You?
Right now, 36.
Dave Ramsey is heard here. Super Talk 1270.
All right, we are back on the Dakota Housing Network with 515 from Quadrophenia and the Who. This, Jim and I were talking before the show. This is, I think, my favorite Who album. So, Jim like Magic Bus. Greg, you got a favorite?
Magic Bus.
Magic Bus? Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So anyway, hey, we haven't talked about fracking for a while.
No.
Okay. Do you know there's a new map out that shows where the greatest risk for fracking earthquakes are?
No. A fracking earthquake.
Fracking earthquake.
Oklahoma?
And honestly, this relates to housing because I'm an investor. I'm going to buy a loan. It's just this is like California. Okay, does it have earthquake insurance?
Sure.
Okay, I need to know that. Okay, I'm going to require that. Okay, well, there are areas in the central United States that are subject to fracking earthquakes.
There's a big flap in Oklahoma about that.
Oklahoma is one of them.
Pennsylvania might be one.
There's 6 states that are most rare. This is the United States Geological Survey has come out with this map.
Okay.
And this does matter to lenders, servicers, investors in the mortgage because, are we going to have earthquake insurance in Oklahoma?
Yeah, sure.
Now, okay. Let's see. There's some stats here. According to the Geological Survey report from 1973 to 2008, there was an average of 24 earthquakes of magnitude 3.0 or larger per year in the central United States. So kind of like right down that corridor. Okay. From 2009 to 2015, the rate has steadily increased, averaging 318 per year and peaking in 2015 with 1,010 earthquakes. Through mid-March of 2016, there have been 226 earthquakes of magnitude 3 or larger in the central U.S. region. To date, the largest earthquake located near several active injection wells where they're putting the wastewater in and all that stuff, was a magnitude 5.6 in 2011 near Prague, Oklahoma.
Right.
All right. So 5.6, I think that's a fairly significant
that would
rumble in the jungle, so to speak.
You would feel that
on the plains.
You would feel that.
That's more than the buffalo herd
that might
coming
crack
over.
To China.
Yeah, it might crack to China. Okay. In fact, geological survey data shows that in some of those areas, the chance of damage from all types of earthquakes is similar to that of natural earthquakes in high-hazard areas of California. Okay, so the 6 states that are most at risk of human-induced earthquakes. Oh, we're all-powerful humans.
Human-induced earthquakes.
Human-induced earthquakes. All right. Those 6 states are Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arkansas, with Oklahoma and Texas having the largest populations at risk of being exposed to induced earthquakes.
I'd be interested in knowing where in Texas it's mostly an issue because Texas is a pretty big place.
It is a huge place, yeah.
Well, anyway, most of their fracking happens over in the Midland, Odessa area.
Right, yeah. So anyway, we're not on the list.
Do we know there's actually a human-induced earthquake?
Well, I guess because we're pulling oil out of the ground. We're making earthquakes.
There may be a correlation, but does that mean there's a cause?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
They fracked there. There happened to be an earthquake there, so therefore the fracking caused it.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
But anyway, North Dakota's not on the list.
Good.
I haven't felt an earthquake yet. I hope we don't get one.
Have you ever been in an earthquake?
No, I have not.
It's a thrill.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
I was in Oakland, California.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is back in the days when I was a contractor and I was meeting with coal gasification plant folks, Kaiser Engineers. And they've got 2 30-story buildings in Oakland. And I was on the 14th floor of one, meeting with some engineers. And it was kind of a strange deal. These guys around me, they didn't notice. I felt just a little nauseous, just kind of nauseous.
Queasy, yeah, sure.
Queasy for a second, and then things started rattling and tables started shaking, and that's back in the days when they smoked at their desk and the ashtrays started moving and coffee cups. Okay. So these guys, all they did, they kept talking. They just reached out and grabbed this stuff, and we kept talking.
Yeah.
And
I'm used to it.
Maybe 20, 25 seconds, it stopped, and then 5 minutes later, there's another smaller one, and a couple minutes after, there's another smaller one.
Yeah.
These guys just took it like we're going to lunch, and I had to go find a restroom and collect myself.
Well, the biggest earthquake in American history happened in the Midwest.
Oh, yeah?
Around the New Madrid Fault, around Lower Missouri.
I didn't know that.
Yes, it did.
The very largest one in the United
it was
States?
It was early 19th century.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. That was the one, I forget the exact Richter reading, but it was pretty high. It was higher than the big California ones we've had the last.
So
it was bigger than the San Francisco quake.
Wow.
So they got to get earthquake insurance in Missouri then?
I guess so.
But obviously not the population.
That was the
then.
one, if you read about it, that was the one where the Mississippi River actually ran backwards for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what was it? What area?
It was around the called New Madrid area,
Madrid
central,
Missouri.
kind of like the area around Cape Girardeau.
Oh, okay.
Where down by where it meets Arkansas, and I think to the north a little bit you have Kansas, but mainly Missouri.
Cape Girardeau, that's Rush Limbaugh's home.
That's Rush's hometown.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, we're not going to have earthquake insurance in North Dakota.
That's good.
That's a good thing because we have the issue with termites.
We have, you know what?
And how is that going?
The FHA has removed that requirement.
Oh, joy. Okay.
Apparently, the fact that there are no termites in North Dakota
was that a deciding factor?
Might have been. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Actually, we had the termite table here once.
Yes.
We are at risk of getting termites occasionally.
Yeah.
But we don't have native termites. We don't have termites that can survive North Dakota.
Yeah.
The only time we get termites is, I didn't know this, but if they come in on cheap furniture in the wood, cheap furniture, or in some cases on lumber.
Sure.
When we used to buy Southern lumber, but we buy Western lumber now, so that isn't even an issue. So the FHA has removed the requirement in those 5 northwest corners.
Well, they were relying on a report from 1960.
1966.
It's 19. So we were probably buying Southern lumber back then.
We were.
Yeah. So.
Right.
Okay.
So
times change, folks.
Bug wars is
we're safe. We're safe from termites and earthquakes, apparently.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Termites, earthquakes,
life is good.
Hurricanes.
Okay, life is good. Hurricane. Well, I hope unless California falls off, then we might have a problem. But okay, all right. Well, Greg, what's the fastest way to improve your credit score?
Fastest way to improve your credit score.
Let's do some real, informational stuff here.
Okay.
For folks.
Fastest way to improve your credit score.
What do you think?
Pay off your credit cards.
That's one way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Jim? What would you, if you were going to do it? What would you do?
The fastest way to improve
your credit score.
I would think pay down the credit cards as much as possible.
Okay. All right. Well,
although you should probably use them.
Pay down
your
that's the ironic thing. You have to use them to get the credit.
Yes.
Yeah, use without debt.
Okay, so this is it's spring home buying season coming along.
Yes, it is.
So if you want to make you want to have your credit score be as good as it can be. So this comes from Experian, which is one of the credit repositories, as they call them. 2 fastest ways to improve your credit score: make your payments on time, which that's basically what you guys are doing.
That's basic.
It's just very important. Don't be late, whatever you do. I mean, pay the minimum if nothing else.
Yeah.
But paying it off in full every month is great, right? Keep your credit utilization down. Okay, so if you got $10,000 on a credit card, that's your credit line.
Yeah.
Don't have a $6,000 balance that you're carrying every month, because then you're using too much.
Don't ever carry a balance over half.
Yeah. The ideal, according to Experian, the ideal amount of credit utilization is less than 10%. So really, you don't want to have that balance. If you're not paying it off every month, you don't want to have that balance be more than, if you had $10,000.
The balance
be more than 1,000. Yeah.
How many people actually do that though? You get a credit card, the limit's $5,000, you go right out, $3,000 right off the bat.
I hope not.
Well, I'm saying a lot of people do that.
A lot of people do that. I hope they don't. But
as a younger person, I'm guilty as charged. I don't do it anymore, but I did.
Oh yeah,
me too.
I think everybody did. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the credit utilization is a big deal. You want to, if you can, keep that to 10% or less. If you're carrying a balance, if you have to.
Those new credit cards are dangerous. You go to buy a bag or a pack of 3 golf balls, and you wind up with new clubs, bag, cart.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's on the credit card.
Does what you buy with the credit card, does that have an impact? Like if you use it for a business investment as opposed to buying golf clubs or toys, so
not
to speak?
as far as I know.
Okay.
They're just looking at how much you got on there. Are you current? And what's your balance?
The only thing I know about that is if you're going to put business on a card, it should be on a separate card that is a business card. That's
probably
that makes sense.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
So you keep them separated. Now, if you do have to repair your credit score, if your credit score is not looking good, and you'd want to get improve your score from what it is. The advice from FICO, which is Fair Isaac, and they provide the credit score that most banks, lenders use probably is the FICO score, although there are others out there that can be used, is check your credit report. You go to annualcreditreport.com and you can get a free credit report from the credit reporting agencies. You can get one a year. So the ideal thing to do is to go to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, go to them every 4 months and get one report from Experian, then 4 months later get it from TransUnion, 4 months later get it from Equifax, and then you're looking at your credit report over time, over that year, and just rotate through it. It's a good plan. And just you set up payment reminders. It's so easy to make payments nowadays because apps on your phone. Yeah. And you just go out, hey, I'm going to make my payment. You just do it from your phone. That's what I've started doing. It's so simple to make those payments on time these days and not forget about them.
Yeah, I do that too, but there's something to be said about writing that check and sticking it.
It makes it harder.
It's a feel-good thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Won't get fooled again.
Oh, don't get fooled again and lose too much credit. Okay. All right, we'll be back.
Right now, 37.
On Twitter, Facebook, online, and YouTube. SuperTalk1270.com.
You know what this is.
Oh, everybody knows what this is.
Of course.
Pinball Wizard.
Yeah.
On the Dakota Housing Network, Dave Floor, Greg Larson, and Jim Walsh.
We're here.
You know, Jim is not related to Joe Walsh.
Is that right?
No.
That's too bad.
You thought because Jim had musical talent, I thought, well, maybe he claimed that he was Joe's.
I used to tell people that Joe was my father.
Really?
Yeah.
Legitimate or illegitimate?
What do you think?
I'm guessing illegitimate.
Joe Walsh, do the math.
I'm thinking it's imaginary.
Or imaginary, yes. That would maybe be closer, but no. Anyway, let's see. Okay, we were talking fracking, oil. What do you think the break-even oil price for Saudi Arabian oil is?
Oh, I heard this. See if I can remember. The term $11 sticks in my head.
Very close. It's $7.
$7.
Okay, the break-even oil price for Russian oil is what?
10 rubles.
10 rubles. Well, if that's $46, you're correct. And I don't know what the break-even point for us. I think probably varies. In the United States, depending on what kind of drilling you're doing. But that kind of it's an interesting thing that's going on with the oil and the OPEC and everything and how this is going. I've heard Saudi Arabia's they're having some problems over there. They're running out of money.
Yeah, they're running out of oil too.
They're running out of oil and money. So Greg, there were fewer homes on the market.
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay. This is nationwide, of course. This is from our friend Mike Higley at By the Numbers. The number of existing homes for sales in the USA has fallen 47% in the last 6 years. There were 3.5 million homes for sale on February 28th, 2010, and that's reduced down to 1.8 million as of the end of February this year.
Yep.
Nationwide. So that is certainly what we hear in the housing world is there's a big inventory problem across the country.
Actually, that is true. And, you could almost predict this. In 2006, we have the bubble burst, if you will. Now they're saying we're in a declining market in North Dakota, and we are not. There's not a statistic to show that. Yeah. But sometimes perception becomes reality for some folks. But people stop building houses. Even the new home builders and even around here stop building so many spec homes. Right. Yep. Well, that happens all over the place. The largest home builder, second largest home builder in the United States is a company called Ryland Homes. Mm-hmm. Yep. And they build these monstrous developments and stuff. Yeah. They have cut way back on spec homes. Yeah. They have gone to 2 or 3 model homes, and then they don't build until they have a contract. Yeah. So
which that's based on their past experience.
Yeah. So what that does is there's not as much new home. Yeah. So if you don't have a new home to move to, you don't sell your home, and so there's not as many existing homes on the market. It's it's that drip down economic thing that isn't supposed to work but does.
Trickle.
In this case.
Yeah, drip down. They should just change the name from trickle down to drip down.
Oh, it was trickle down.
Trickle down. You know, if you change the name of something,
yeah,
then sometimes that's a good concept, isn't it? You just change the name. It's the same thing that was 20 years ago.
Now, housing, actually, next week we'll have Dot Frank here, and we're going to talk about housing starts and housing permits and stuff around here. But the housing permits are up nationwide.
Yeah. But they are down locally.
The inventory is, I think, but the inventory is down, but the housing starts are up.
So that's
permitting is up.
That's good
from
sign.
what I just read. Yeah.
And isn't the construction agency, and I'm sure Dot will talk to this, is I've certainly read nationwide, there's a lack of workers.
Yep.
Is also a problem. So there's great opportunities for people, young people, to start working on that trade. It sounds like. So
it really is. If I was a young kid today and I wanted to go into trades for a career, diesel mechanics.
Yeah.
There's a crying need for diesel mechanics.
Yeah.
And Finnish carpenters.
Yeah. Finnish carpentry. I mean, those guys are great.
Yeah. I admire what they do, and I know how they do it, but I can't do it.
I can't exactly. Same here. Yeah.
What exactly is Finnish carpentry?
The trim work
in your house.
Ah, okay. As opposed to the
framing,
building house. Oh,
yeah. So, great lead into Dot will be on the show next week.
Yeah.
And we'll get all the expert knowledge from her on home building next week. So, okay, a couple other things. Just random thoughts here I've got, I guess. Going back to Russia, the life expectancy of Russian males, too much vodka, I think. Because you compare it to the American males at birth, we're at 76.4. Okay, that's not bad. Okay.
Not bad.
The Russian males, 64.
It's because they want to.
They want to.
They want to.
So anyway, too much vodka. And also, baseball season opens.
That's
Major League
right.
Baseball, it's opening day weekend.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, 25 ball players will make opening day rosters of 30 major league teams. So I'm glad they did the math for me. It's 750 big league ball players.
Okay.
Coming into the 2016 pro baseball season, 18,663 men have appeared in at least one game at the major league level in the history.
Really?
So that's interesting. So
The Twins are opening, I believe, Monday.
Sunday,
in Baltimore.
A couple teams open Sunday, and
So-
then Monday's the big day.
Right.
Where
Did I
everybody
hear you
starts.
right? There will be 25 new ball players?
Well, no, 25 guys.
25 guys.
On the opening day roster.
25
so that
dudes.
could be 24 of them could be the same as last year.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's 18,000 different guys in the history of baseball, I think, is how I read that. Yeah. So
Over a century and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we were talking a little bit previous segment on credit. There's a new concept with credit that's going to be coming out. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are looking at doing something a little bit different.
This isn't with how you use your Facebook, is it?
No, we've talked about that before. This is actually something that's I think should be useful. It's called trended credit data. Okay.
Trended
credit data. Now, what is that? And this is good for us, I think, as a consumer. Trended credit data is expanded information on a borrower's credit history at a trade line, so like a credit card, okay, level on several monthly factors, including amount owed, minimum payment, and payment made. Okay, so the example they give here is Maria pays her balance off monthly or at least pays more than the minimum amount due, okay? John makes only the minimum payment due almost every month, okay? Assuming the two credit histories are otherwise about the same, Maria will be considered a lower credit risk than John would be because she pays her balance off in full or she pays more than the minimum amount due. So she's getting credit for that over John, who's just paying the minimum due every month most of the time. So that's a good sign. If you pay your credit like that, they're going to give you credit for that, which that's a good thing.
Okay.
Because if you pull somebody's credit report today, mine might have a balance on my credit card of $5,000 because I went on a trip or bought a big ticket item, but I pay that off. I'm going to pay that off next go round. Okay. But if you pull my credit report today, it shows I got $5,000 on there, and if my credit max was $10,000,
So
we
you're
go
at
back to that
50%?
utilization.
Yeah,
I'm at
okay.
50% instead of the 10. But with this, they would look at, well, Dave pays his credit card off every month.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So he will give him a little. The score will be better for him. We're not going to until he shows a history of keeping that higher utilization rate. Then we change his score. But right now he pays it off every month, so we're going to give him credit for that.
Cool.
So that's a good change to what the underwriting aspect of this is going to be. So that's good news for everybody. We should be happy. Okay, you got anything else? That's topical in the real estate world.
Real estate world. Well, I guess the one thing that is, I get involved in national politics and stuff, and flood insurance is still an issue again.
Yeah. Okay.
That expires in 2017.
Okay.
And Fargo scares me. I like Fargo. I'm not putting Fargo down at all, but it scares me. They have 2,600 homes right now.
Right.
In the floodplain.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one of the reasons the flood protection, just to preserve the city, but it becomes so important is it gets them out of the flood plain, out of need for flood insurance. FEMA is redoing their map.
Again?
Probably about 2018, their new map will come out.
They just had a new map come out.
Yeah.
For Fargo. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they went from 1,100 to 2,600.
Right. Yep.
This new map, when they complete it, and it looks like 2018, 2019, if they don't have a plan in place and show they're working towards flood protection, 22,000 new homes come into the floodplain.
Ouch. That's like almost a whole city.
About a third.
Yeah. Okay. That would be big time.
Yeah.
So they really
average
need to
that
get-
at about $4,000 a year at that point, flood insurance rate, if that isn't monitored.
Yeah. So
big bite.
there's some big disputes about the
Yeah.
landowners south of Fargo have a problem with this because they're using that as ponding areas and stuff. So okay.
So that needs a resolution.
Yeah. All right. Dakota Housing Network. Greg Larson, Dave Floor, and Jim Walsh. Thank you as always, Jim.
Thank you.
We will be back next week with Dot Frank. Will be
Frank.
Greg's guest.
Yep.
Whether anybody else shows up or not, we don't know.
Well, Jim
I'll
will
be here.
Jim will be here. We got
I'm
Dot
pretty
and
sure
Greg.
I'll
That's
be
all
here.
you need right there.